Okay, I'm going to start really with other questions other than George Galloway. I'll get on to George Galloway and the Workers' Party very quickly, just to say that this election campaign, from a Tory point of view, has been, a disaster. I mean, if we look at the launch, it was in Rishi Sunak's remit to time it and to plan it. Good God, begins with a downpour. Can you blame him for that? Well, yes, because you could have had it indoors like the Labour Party. Either way, the latest one, of course, is boring. Bet gate. Everything's gate. Soon you'll have a generation that doesn't know what gate is other than scandal. It will just become synonymous with the word. Either way, what do the polls show? Labour 41%. This is from last night. Labour 41%, margin of error between 36 and 46. Tories 20%, margin of error 15 to 25. Reform 17%, margin of error 14 to 20 points. Lib Dems 11 points, margin of error between 8 and 14. And hey, most of the press, most of the media has been dominated by polls. And the real question is, from their point of view, how big is the Labour majority? I don't know what a super majority is, but could it be a super majority? And will the Tories have the biggest drubbing in their entire history? Of course, we don't know. Polls will change. I have to say my own expectation, and I could still be not proved right, it's not a question of that, but my own expectation was in the course of the campaign would see a bleed of reform votes towards the Tories. It's a first past the post. It is about government. No one thinks that reform is just about to establish itself in government. But Nigel Farage throwing his hat in the ring has certainly changed things in the short term. In other words, not only have we seen reforms vote, or should I say polling ratings, firm up, if anything, we've seen reform actually eating in to the Tories. So although you've seen, I think the latest polls show a dip, a little dip for the Labour Party, a little dip for the Tories, what we're still talking about is two parties dominating Parliament, or should I say the House of Commons, on July the 5th. And the real question that seems to be in front of us in terms of speculation is, how big, how crushing will the Keir Starmer majority be? 2 points. First of all, it is worth mentioning, and that is donations. Over the course of the general election campaign so far, Labour Party's taken in £4.4 million. By contrast, the Tories are on 290,000. And all you need to do is look at the donations, and what it shows you is that it's the capitalist class, it's rich people that are making the donations. It's not ordinary people with their pennies and pounds that are, financing the campaign on either side. And I think legitimately that has led some comrades on the left to question our designation of the Labour Party remaining a bourgeois workers' party. After all, what we haven't had stories of, no surprise, is, for example, of Unite throwing money at the Labour Party, as it certainly did under McCluskey in 2016 2017 and 2019. I mean, has Unite made any donations to the general election campaign? Certainly Sharon Graham has refused to even endorse the Labour manifesto, and she's done it on the basis, this is my understanding of it, one, over the question of 0-hour contracts and all the rest of it, and secondly, North Sea gas and oil concessions. Make of that what you will. It's certainly, as I said, legitimate, therefore, to question the nature of the Labour Party. All I would say from my angle is I don't see any fundamental change in the nature of the Labour Party. Remember, in terms of politics, the emphasis is on the bourgeois, and that, from our angle, remember, also applies to the trade unions. The trade unions, with no exceptions that I can think of in Britain, are engaged in the bourgeois politics or the bourgeois economics of the working class. So in that sense, what we're looking at when it comes to the working class side of it is, yes, trade unions are organizations of masses of workers, and the history of the Labour Party mainly getting its vote from working class people, and certainly having a background in the working class movement in Britain. That's what the working class bit of it stands for. Second point is there's quite a lot of complaint in the media, in the press, that coverage of the general election thus far, and I suspect it will remain so, is dominated by what I began with, and that's the polls. So there's talk from some, we should ban polls during an election campaign. We should only have polls for the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever it is of a general election campaign. We should ban polls in the last few days, whatever. My own argument here would be, I'm not proposing myself any ban on polls, but the reality is, why is it being dominated by the polls? And that's because politically, when it comes to the difference between what the three main parties, perhaps the four main parties, what actually separates them? You know, what is the difference between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer? Politically, what we've seen with Keir Starmer and the Labour Party is this strategy of triangulation, of where they get absolutely right up to where the Tory party is. You leave a gap, but I think, in the words coined by Dennis Skinner, fiery left winger, the difference is, inseparable, except for the width of a cigarette paper. And I think, therefore, what we have is largely artificial debate. I was looking at the Sun from the other day to see if our prediction, or the prediction of Paul Damate, was confirmed. And the Sun, when Murdoch gets back from honeymoon, he'll change the line of the Sun. No sign of that so far. The article I read in the Sun was 11 days to save Britain. This is a result of an interview with Rishi Sunak. And apparently, if you believe it, of course, anybody believes it, is an idiot. I don't think the majority of voters or Sun readers are idiots, shouldn't treat them as such. But according to Rishi Sunak, the Labour Party is just about to open the gates. It believes in the free movement of people. Apparently, it's going to make Britain defenceless, in terms of world politics. And it's going to have asylum seekers wandering around Britain with not a care in the world. That's the sort of picture that Rishi Sunak paints. The reality is, I think, a little bit more humdrum, and that is the difference between the Labour Party and the Tory party is a matter of detail. That's what we're talking about. And if anything, what you can say in terms of the Labour Party, what they're promising to be is to be different. to be slightly more rational. And that's what their junking of the Rwanda plan is all about, in my opinion.